Hello, this is Two Ladies Midwest Adventures. I'm Julietta, and I'm reading Heaven is for Real. We're on chapter 26. A few months later, I had some business in McCook, a town about 60 miles from Imperial and the site of the nearest Walmart. For many Americans, an hour is an awfully long way to drive to get to Walmart. But out here in farm and country, get used to it. I take Colton with me, and I'll never forget the conversation we had on the way back. Because while our son had spoken to me about heaven and about my own past, he never before hinted that he knew my future. We driven back through Culberson, the first town west of McCook. And we're passing a cemetery. Colton, by now out of the car seat, gazed out the passenger window and at the rows of headstones filled past. "Dad, where's Pop buried?" he said. "Well, his body is buried in a cemetery town down in Ulysses, Kansas, where Grandma Key lives. I said, "Next time that we're down there, I could take you to see where Pop is. See where it is if you want. You know that's not where Pop is." Colton kept peering out the window. "I know he's in heaven. He got a new body. Jesus told me if you don't go to heaven, you don't get a new body." "Hang on," I thought. New information added. "Really?" was all I said. "Yeah," he said. Then added, "Dad, do you know where there's going to be a war?" "What do you mean?" We were still on the heaven topic. I wasn't sure. "There's going to be a war, and it's going to destroy this world. Jesus and the angel and good people are going to fight against Satan and the monsters and the bad people." I saw it. I thought of the battle described in the book of Revelation, and my heartbeat skipped a notch. "How did you see that?" "In heaven, the women and children got to stand back and watch. So I stood back and watched." Strangely, his voice was short of cheerful, as though he were talking about a good movie he'd seen. "But the men, they had to fight, and Dad, I watched you. You have to fight too." And try hearing that and staying on the road. Suddenly the sound of tires wearing on asphalt seemed unnaturally loud, a high whine. And there was this issue of heaven time again. Before Colton had talked about my past, and he had seen Dad, people in present, now he's saying that in the midst of all that, he had also been shown the future. I wondered if the concepts past, present, and future were for Earth only. Maybe in heaven, time isn't linear. But I had another question. Another pressing concern. "You said we were fighting monsters." "Yeah," Colin said happily, "like dragons and stuff. I'm not sure those creatures who camp out on end time prophecy. But now I remember it a partially vivid section of Revelation. In those days, men will seek death and will not find it. They will desire to die, and death will flee from them. The shape of the locust. It's like horses prepared for battle. On their heads, their crowns of something like gold. And their faces were like the faces of men. They had hair like women's hair. And their teeth were like lions' teeth. And they had breastplates like breastplates of iron. And the sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots with many horses running into battle. They had tails like scorpions, and there were stings in their tails. Their power was to hurt men 5 months. For centuries, theologians had mined these kinds of passages for symbolism. Maybe a combination of those different body parts stood for some kind of country, or even one stood for a kingdom of some sort. Others have suggested breastplates of iron indicate some kind of modern military machine, and John had no more reference point to describe. But maybe we sophisticated grown-ups have tried to make things more complicated than they are. Maybe we're just too educated, too smart to name these creatures in simple language of a child monsters. Can you not?
Okay.
I'm Colton. What am I fighting monsters with? I was hoping for a tank, maybe a missile launcher. I didn't know what something I could use to fight from distance. Colton looked at me and smiled. You either get a sword or a bow and an arrow. But I don't remember which. My face fell. You have to fight monsters with a sword? Yeah, Dad. But it's okay, he said reassured. Anyway, Jesus wins. He throws Satan into hell. I saw it. I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set the seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, until the 1,000 years fulfilled, and after that he must lose a little season. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the 4 quarters of earth, Magog, to gather them together, to battle, and the number of whom is in the sand is as the sands of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of saints about. And the beloved city, the fire came down, God out of heaven, and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast in the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. Colton was describing the battle of Armageddon, and saying I was going to fight in it for the upteenth time in the nearly 2 years since Colton told us the angel sang to him at the hospital. My head was spinning. I drove off, speechless. For several miles, I kicked around these new images in my head. Also, Colton's nonchalance struck me. His attitude was kind of like, what's the problem, Dad? I've told you. I've skipped it in the last chapter, and the good guys win. That was some comfort at last. We were just crossing the outskirts of Imperial when I decided to adopt this attitude towards the whole thing. Well, son, I guess if Jesus wants me to fight, I'll fight, I said. Colton turned from the window, and I saw that look on his face and turned serious. Yeah, I know, Dad, he said. You will. That is the end of chapter 26. Like and subscribe so we can get to 1,000 subscribers to start beekeeping. Make the world a better place, one person, one moment at a time. Jenny, say hello. Hello. There we go.
Like and subscribe so we can get to 1,000 subscribers so we can start beekeeping.